What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Happy New Year. Starting off 2019 with a video that I think you guys are going to like a lot. Especially if you're a gamer, I bet you'll totally be able to relate to this. Because we're going to be talking about 10 things that gamers can't stand. So, number one is when your computer crashes right in the middle of a good game. Whether it's a blue screen of death, or whether Windows starts to update.
14.9 and there's no reason to try, so.
Or if the battery dies or whatever, but something happens when you're right in the middle of a good game. Man, I was so close. I was so close to being number one. I was so close to that victory royale. Number two is when your Wi-Fi goes out during a game. Man, there is nothing more frustrating than when you're playing an online game and then the internet just decides, yep, it'd be a nice time to just take a break for a while and maybe come back in 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't think that would frustrate anybody. Number three is when you get kicked out of your clan or group or whatever. People just say, yeah, we don't want you in there. Let's just kick you out. And it stinks, especially if it was like a really good clan or really good group or whatever, guild, I don't know, whatever game it is you're playing, and people decide they don't want you anymore. Number four is when people try and start talking to you while you're gaming. Oh, I can't stand this one. You're right in the middle of a good game, you're doing well, and then someone starts coming up and talking to you. It's like, oh my goodness, can you not see that I'm right in the middle of a really good game? It's like, please, leave me be. I'm gaming. I don't come up and try to talk to you while you're doing whatever it is you do. Number five is when someone tells you to pause the game when it's an online game. I don't know why, for some reason, like parents or people of the older generation aren't able to understand this, but you cannot pause a game if it is in real time with other people. It just doesn't work that way. This is not the 90s anymore when Nintendo was all there was, when you could just pause it. It doesn't work like that anymore. You either lose or you give me 5 more minutes to finish it up. Number six is when your PC does not meet the system requirements to play a game. This is common for people that have older computers or maybe even using computers that weren't meant to be gaming computers, and they just don't have the processor, they don't have the RAM, they don't have the graphics card, whatever, and the game won't work. Either that or it runs really choppy and you have to turn all the settings down for it to even be playable. Or even worse, it just won't even open. Number seven is when you're a retro gamer and you can't find the right emulator or the right ROM to play your game. Now, I like retro gaming. In fact, lately I've been really involved in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I've played the 3D remake on my Nintendo 2DS, and it's really fun. But I remember when I used to try to play it in an emulator on my phone, and oh gosh, was it bad. The controls were horrible because they weren't meant to be played that way. The sound was really laggy and slow. The game would crash. It would get revoked because Apple hates emulators. Even if you're on a computer, it can still be hard because you still need to find like zip file extractors a lot of the time, and it just doesn't go well. So, sorry, retro gamers. It's a hard knock life out there. Number eight is when your keyboard or mouse doesn't work right. Like whether it breaks in the middle of a game or there's something wrong with your scroll wheel or whatever. Because the scroll wheel has become pretty much an essential part of every game when it comes to switching between items very quickly. And if your mouse or whatever click or keyboard doesn't work, you're going to be in for a rough time. Number nine is when someone tells you that those games are bad for you and that they're going to ruin your brain and that they make people violent. Video games do not cause a person to be violent. In fact, ASAP Science made an awesome video about how video games can actually make you smarter. And I'll sum it up for you. It's like reaction time, because you have to be able to react quickly, especially if it's like a first-person shooter game. And surgeons will actually practice using video games to help with their surgeries, because a lot of those surgeries are done with remote controls. And granted, you know, that kid who sits in his mom's basement swearing at people on Call of Duty, yeah, that's probably not good for you. And you have to moderate your games. If you just play video games all day and do nothing else with your life, that is bad for you. But there really is nothing wrong with video games, like what people say. The last one, number 10, I know I can relate to this one quite a bit, is when you can't afford new games or you can't afford upgrades for your PC because you don't have the money for it. I mean, I got this gaming computer for Christmas, and it's not top of the line. It was a budget, but it works fine for me. But I'm going on Steam looking at all these games that look really fun, and then I see they're $50. I'm like, who? I'm not rich. Do you think I'm rich? I mean, I get it. Like, if it's not one of those free-to-play with in-app purchases and all that crap where they suck you into it by saying, oh, it's free to play, but progress can be sped up. That's their way of saying pay to win. Because you just can't afford something, or maybe you need to upgrade your RAM, or your hard drive went bad because of all those save files that are huge from your open world games or whatever, and you just can't afford it. It's rough. It's hard being a gamer, don't get me wrong. But whenever these things happen to you, embrace them. Remember, whatever people say about them being bad for you, or to get off that dang game, just explain to them it's not true. So I hope you guys were able to relate and kind of understand that gamers hate this kind of stuff. If you want me to make a part 2, please let me know in the comments below, because I can think of a billion other reasons that I personally hate when I'm gaming. But thank you for watching. Well guys, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to smash that thumbs up button and that subscribe button so much that you break your monitor and have to buy a new one. That's IceCreamJunkie, shutting down.